Welcome back to Badger Outdoors, another wild camp, this time with a hammock. Haven't been out with a hammock for quite some time. I think I've done 5 wild camps since I was last in a hammock. Yeah, so a bit of time for hammock now. I've got a different underquilt. I won't keep you in suspense. It's the Swagman Roll. There are a few videos out on the internet about them. I'm just going to get mine out, and I want to try it tonight as an underquilt. Right, so I am up in a fairly local area. I've been meaning to come up here for quite some time. I scouted it out a while back. In fact, I did my little scouting video. In fact, I filmed that just up there, but I've come a little bit further in just to have a quick look around. I'm just going to wander around now. So I've dropped my bag off. I know where it is. I'm just going to have a wander around and just see what what the environment is like, where I'm sort of protected from anyone coming in, where the possible routes that people could come in from. I think about, this is all, I think this is all Forestry Commission or Woodlands or something like that, but it's not privately owned. I'm pretty sure it's not privately owned. It is right next to a farmer's field, so does he own it? I don't think he does. I think this is all linked into the Forestry Commission over there, and there are lots of pathways through it and people explore it, but this corner is really hardly ever used. So I think it's quite reasonable for me to come here. If I keep going around over there, I can see the field. It looks like it's got wild flowers in there at the moment, so I think they're letting it grow, and then they're going to cut it down for hay. So, which means there's no sheep in there, which means that there shouldn't be any farmers wandering around tonight, just checking up on his stock. So I think it's reasonably okay. I wouldn't expect any trouble, although I am a little bit close to it, so I'm going to think about this a little bit more. I'm going to go and explore around here and see what other sort of options we've got. Here is a very pretty little area. So it's quite grassy, a few bluebells around, a bit of bracken up that end. Some good trees here for hammocking. There's probably a good potential in there. Yeah, I'm liking it around here. I think this is looking pretty good. Have a quick wander down there. But in terms of the 5Ws or 6Ws that I use, wood, there's lots of wood around here if I do want to have a fire. I need to think a little bit more about fire. Wood, water, I've got plenty of water. Importantly, I've got water to put a fire out. I just need to make sure that my fire doesn't get so big that I don't have enough water to put it out. And I only bring really water up. I will bring 1 bottle that I drink, a couple of beers, which are non-alcoholic this time, and then a load of water, which is just there to put out the fire at the end of the day and make sure it's safe. So that's what we've spoken about. Wood, water, winds. The wind is coming in from that direction. Now with this Swagman Roll, I don't think it cinches up particularly well at either end of the hammock, so I need to be conscious of which way the wind is, and so I don't want the wind coming straight in and onto one of the ends of the hammock, because it's just going to blow cold air through all night, and I don't have a backup plan with regards to that. So that's the wind. Widowmakers, I've already had a good look. Good in here, all really healthy. There's a dead tree in there, but if I did decide to go in there, but it's falling away from me if I do need to do that. What else? I'm sure I've forgotten something. Is that 5 of them? Water, wind, wood, wigglies. Wigglies and wildlife. They don't look like there's any game trails in here, and no ants or anything like that. If you're somewhere in there, if you're up on the Quantox, I would expect to have ants somewhere nearby, and they build the big old ant hills. They're wood ants on the Quantox. They're little monsters, and I've had them running up the pine tree and then coming down my suspension, which I found out in the morning. I had quite a few that were down in there, and I had a few bites on my back, so I'm very cautious of those now. And the final one for me is walkers. So in terms of walkers, the only thing I'm going to be careful of, going to check, is I'm just going to have a look over there, over the hedge there, fence, and just see if the farmer has been walking around the outside of the grass. So yeah, the grass looks like it's all being set ready for hay to be cut. It's probably not far away from being cut. He's probably going to leave it for a few more days because we've got some nice dry weather. But there's no sheep in there, importantly, and if there were sheep, then I wouldn't be this close, certainly not. So have a quick wander around, quick extra wander around, and then I'll make a choice. Right, I think what I'm going to do is hunker down in this little bit. So I've come back into the little pine area. It's actually better for the sun going down, and you're going to have a bit more warmth, and the sun coming up in the morning. It's going to be coming up right over there, and it's nice and clear out that way. So I think I'm going to sit down here and set myself up. There are clear tracks of people walking around the outside of that field, so I don't want to cause any hassle or anything like that. So I think it's probably best that I stay away from there, as nice as it is. And there's a bit more wood source here. I've got a bit more of an escape route, and I can easily hear people coming in from this direction because there's so much leaves, so many leaves, etc. on the ground. So I'm actually quite happy here. I don't think there are any wigglies or anything like that. I've had a good look around. No ants, no obvious sign of ants. So yeah, I think we'll be good. Right, now what? 5 o'clock. Okay, so the Helikon-Tek's, here it is. It is effectively one big blanket with a hood in the middle that you can put over your head. I'm going to do that in a second. All around the outside you've got a zip, which is YKK. You've got a few toggles on there, toggles in the corner, and cinching straps with elastic in the corner as well. So when you put it into the hammock mode, into the underquilt mode, you can cinch both ends. And on the outside, obviously there's the hood, which I'm going to put on in a second. Below that you've got a big pocket. In terms of waterproofness, this is certainly shower proof. Great video from the Corporal's Corner, where he puts it through its paces. So yeah, it's good. It's very good in that respect. Temperature wise and insulation, you're probably good down to plus 10 degrees centigrade, apparently, according to Luke on the Outdoor Gear Review. The hood itself can roll up, and then it puts into its own little pocket. It doesn't completely put it away, but it gets it out the way, just so it's all yeah, out the way. Yeah, and have a look at their reviews online. They'll show you how it goes into a sleeping bag. So I'll literally just zip it up, and there I've got my sleeping bag. I can have it as a top quilt. I would unzip it part way down. So I've got a foot box, and then there's a toggle on the zip itself, and then I'm going to put these little toggles through, and if I can sort this out, it should be really simple. There we go. That means the zip's not going to move, and now I've got a little foot box, and the rest of it is a top quilt, which is great. What I could do, I could have it as a blanket, as a top quilt, but then I can use these straps at the head end, sort of on elastic. I can maybe put those around a blow-up pad, something like that. So loads of options with this thing. I can obviously put it on to keep myself warm, which I'll do now, and I'll show you the underquilt later on. But if you want a proper rundown of these as a review, then go and have a look at the Outdoor Gear Review. I'll stick a link down below. Outdoor Gear Review with Luke, who's great at doing these sorts of things, and Corporal's Corner, who I really do listen to. But stick it on and see what an idiot I look like. Okay, so here it is. Once it's on, you can see why I wouldn't want to put this on and walk into a camp. So this is something that I'm just going to walk into camp, and then I'm just going to get it out, and just as the sun goes down, just keep myself warm in the evening. You actually attach, once you put it over yourself, there's a couple of buckles which you use. If I don't use the buckles, if I unclip the buckles there, it's all open, and the buckles are effectively a couple of these two on the front, which I just put around the back of me. There we go, and then the two on the back I just bring around the front. There we go, and you can do it either way, doesn't really matter, but it does feel actually really cozy, and particularly having a hood that's all integrated just to keep the wind off you if it does start to get cold in the evenings. And finally, the reason that I have this is because in my car I keep a get your home bag, basically all my old wild camping gear, goes to retire in my car, and it gets stored in there. And in the car I've basically got car camping gear, so me and the family can stay there for 72 hours. And then I've got a bag that is one bag that is ready to go with 72 hours worth of food, etc., for myself. And then if the missus and my son were in there, then I've just got another bag for them. But that's where all my gear goes to end its days. And it's all old gear, with the two exceptions really of this and the poncho. And the poncho itself, I bought these specifically to go in there. I plan to use them in the summer, and to take the poncho out if I thought there was a chance of rain, just because once you're in camp, they're just easy to get on and off, and they get you can get a little bit of air under there as well. So I quite like the idea, and they're multifunctional, and the best place for them is probably in a get your home bag, something like that, so you can keep everything's got a number of rolls in that bag. But I'll maybe go through that bag another time. Right, so yeah, look these up. I think they're really good. We'll see what it looks like as an underquilt later on. But for now, I've been guessing enough. I need to go and get some wood and start setting myself up. Right, there's the setup. It's the Cocoon, which I brought out just because there are a few bugs just starting to be around and about now, and it's a pretty nice lightweight system. It's really simple. I have been looking really hard online to try and find anything. It's about 500 grams, this thing. I think it's about 500 grams. I'll put the correct figure up, but I've been trying to find another hammock that is as light, with also has a bug net. And I just can't find anything. You know, everything is quite a bit, and I want something that's really as compact as well. The hummingbird is brilliant. If I could do the hummingbird but with a bug mesh as well, that would be my ultimate hammock. This thing is okay. It's not the most comfortable. I don't like sleeping left side up this end as I normally do. It just doesn't seem right. There seems to be a lot of wasted material. I've got some damage on it, which came from me having a fire with some river rocks nearby, and it was like a complete attack. I thought the Marines were coming in. There were rounds inbound. Always on the lookout for other options. So if you've got any other options that are as light as this, so I will put the weight in, as light as this with a bug mesh, then I'm really interested, and I'd really appreciate it. Right, inside here, there we go, is the Snugpak Jungle Bag, which is a brilliant bit of kit. It's square at the bottom. There's plenty of space, and what I particularly, so this is the hood area. You can see where the pillow is. It's good down to +7 degrees centigrade, and in here is also a bug mesh. If I pull it out, there's the bug mesh, and you've got a zip at the top, a zip that zips up around the top, and a zip that zips down there. So you effectively get your head into the hood area, and you can zip your face in. So you can sleep outside. If you're worried about bugs or anything like that, you can just zip yourself into your sleeping bag and you're good to go. Like I say, yeah, +7, so it's not too bad. It's definitely the summer bag, definitely a summer bag that I use, but it goes down, it condenses down really quite well, so I'm really impressed with it. Now I do have a lighter. I use the Sea to Summit Spark SP1 in the summer if I want to go really lightweight and really condense it down and save space, but I try not to use those because they're down. They're not as rough and tough. This is just a little bit more wild campy. Love that thing. I did damage the zip. I think that was me after a few too many beers, after a bikepacking trip I did last weekend. A few too many beers, and yeah, I think I ripped the zip. But there we go. It's a very nice bag. So I've treated it all with permethrin, just undid the whole thing, so you can undo the whole thing, the whole sleeping bag, until it's in like a blanket, so you just turn it into a blanket effectively. So you just have a blanket, or you can zip it up and have it as a jungle bag. The only thing I would say, and if I just look at the bottom here, so this is the square bottom that you can see, and you've got these tags here, so I guess that you can just hang it up in a tree, just to dry out. But it's a jungle bag, and because it unzips all the way, you've got two zips. That zip there is at the bottom of the bag, and that's the one at the side of the bag, and you can see they unzip clearly. But for a jungle bag, there's a hole in there. Clearly where those two zips meet at the bottom of the sleeping bag, there is a hole. Now if I was in the jungle, that's perfect for a little snake or something else to crawl in. But not something I have to worry about in the UK, and it's treated with permethrin for any little insects, so I don't think they're going to want to go anywhere near it. But I love the bag, absolutely love it. I highly recommend. I probably spent about 25 nights in it. Temperature ratings, yeah, for me is spot on, but it's a personal thing, isn't it, temperature rating? So yeah, there you go. There you go, that's what I'm after. A little bit of that to help get it going. Perfect, plenty of wood here, nice and dry, it's been kept off the ground. I don't think anyone comes here. Beautiful. Oh, there's a little worm. You'll be alright, you get out of there. I would. A few little midgy things. So I think what I'm going to do is at either end of the Swagman, effectively you've got elastic and it just clips it up together so it's in that sort of shape, held by these elastic things on the buckles. I don't think it matters particularly which way around it goes. So what I'm going to do to start off with, just to hold it in place, is just undo those buckles and just round there onto the ridge line. Right. I just hold it up while I sort this out. Now then, in the pocket I put some elastic. Get these bits of elastic. So I basically just got some 4-inch elastic. I guesstimated the length of it, and I just put loops in the end, and hopefully they will fit onto the buckles at the top. So what you'll see is, well, you probably can't see it from there, but yeah, there are some toggles in each corner, one toggle in each corner next to the cinching up thing, and I'm just going to put my loop at the end over the toggle, and that will then snap into there. Same again, in the corner is the toggle. Put the elastic loop around it, which I'll show you in a sec. Snap it into the carabiner. And then put this elastic over the toggle. Right. Okay, so that's the sort of size of it, which I think is quite reasonable. I'm going to unclip it off here in a minute, once I'm all set. And then I can cinch up these ends because they're rather flappy. Pull so much of that one through. And we'll do the same on this side. Okay. So that's held up quite, that's come up quite nicely actually. And I'll do the same on this end. Now I've seen someone, I think there's someone online. I've seen one video where someone's attempted this online. So there's not, so hopefully we'll see how good it really is. But what I think Helikon-Tek's have done over the last couple of years is they've modified this. There we go, so that's up. And what I can do is zip that a little bit just to hold that bottom end. Okay, so that's on elastic now. So when I do get in and that sags down, I've got some play. It looks quite good. I'll just unclip these. And then what I might do is just clip them around at the top just to help hold. There you go. So the elastic now goes under there just to hold that top end in. And then do the same here. Unclip from there, go down underneath. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. It might be better just holding it up. No. If it's particularly cold, then I may do that, but I think what I could do is end up putting strain on there because I want this whole thing to be able to, sag down. So I don't want it held on the ridge line because that's going to put strain in places that I don't necessarily want it. Okay, so what I've done there, so you can see that this is the corner of the Swagman, and in each corner you've got the elastic, and the elastic elasticates this end here. So I've pulled it on this side, and I've got exactly the same that side that I've pulled, and then you can see the toggles that they've got. Yeah, it's stitched on, so it's not going to be amazingly strong, but I think, you know, it's holding there quite nicely, and I think if I pull it down, I think it should be fine. I think actually what I'm going to do is undo those, and then I've essentially got the same this end. You do have the zip there, so I've just zipped that last little bit up, but I think that will hold the air out, and then that's effectively where the hood is, and that's all sort of tied up. So, and then you've got your little pocket there. I think this will be okay. Testing, arsehole bum. Yep, that seems to work. All these little midges are doing my nut. So what I've done, I thought that was a little bit too tight. So I've come up with a ingenious toggling system. So I've used the elastic from here to take this, so I don't have to use the toggle, because I thought it was a little bit tight, up to there, loop around, create a loop in there, toggle through, use the same toggle on the other side. That just extends this down a little bit, takes the pressure off those toggles as well. I think that's absolutely fine. Might try splitting this. I'll cut it there, and then we'll split it. We'll see what we got. Not great, but it'll certainly, I can start the fire with this. That'll do, I think. Right, so we're going to see if this idea does work. So hopefully it should burn. Ash falls down, lights the next layer, and so on and so on. But yeah, never tried it. Saw TA Outdoors do it and thought, I wonder if this will work. My only worry is that it's quite a big pile and I don't want a raging fire. I've got a couple of litres of water, so I think it'll be okay, and if I have to, I'll sacrifice alcohol-free beer. Okay, that's going really nicely. Yeah, you can see the ash is dropping down, it's lighting everything that's underneath it. I think because it's higher up, it's able to draw the air in. There's no wind. I certainly wouldn't have lit this if there was any real wind here. It's not spitting at all, so it's gone past the stage that I'm concerned. I had my water ready to go just while I sort of assessed it, but no, more than happy with how it's going. But like I say, there's just no smoke whatsoever. I think it's because it's all so dry, but it's going quite nicely, and I'll just let that, oh there we go, I'll just let that drop down, burn down. Hopefully it'll take about an hour to burn itself down, maybe 45 minutes, and then I'll just be left with some coals which I'll start cooking on. Okay, that's 15 minutes in now, so I think it will be all the way down in 30 minutes. And it'll calm down and be ready to cook. Tons of heat. It hasn't lasted very long. It's probably because it's soft wood. Pine burns very hot very fast, so I'm guessing that's why it hasn't taken that long. But hey, as long as I can cook on it, that's good. Okay, so that's half an hour in. I think all I'm going to do now is just pull the bits that aren't burnt into the middle, just get them going. Right, little mouse just ran across there, so I'm just going to be careful with my food tonight. Probably get my bag, raise it up. I think I'll just clip it up. That's actually quite a good thing about this here. I can hold the whole bag up if it's relatively light and just clip it on up there somewhere onto a branch. Looks as gorgeous as ever.
Because remember that he also has points on his license as well.
I do have a little friend, the little mouse. I've watched him running around the place. So I will leave some of this out for him. There's probably going to be plenty left, so I'll leave it and see what happens to it. Okay, that's me done. My little friend is running around. I can hear him. I've left him a little bit of pasta out there which got cheese in it, so I'm sure he'll be having fun. I've made sure everything is off the ground. I do not want any holes in any gear, and hopefully he can't do tightrope walking and get out and get over to me, but I'm sure we will survive. So in the morning I'll give you an update on this Helikon-Tek's poncho liner. We'll see if it's actually any good as an underquilt. It actually feels lovely and warm at the moment. The temperature's probably down at about 13 or 12 degrees centigrade, so I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. There's no real wind, so it's not really too much of a challenge for it, but yeah, feels lovely and comfy at the moment, nice and warm. I can feel the temperature has dropped down, and towards the end of that evening I would have actually liked to put this poncho lines around me, but because I'd rigged it all up already I didn't bother. But anyway, I'll see you in the morning. Take care, bye. Right, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm bloody freezing. Well, it's not freezing out here, but it's plus 7 degrees centigrade. It's colder than I thought it was going to be. So the forecast was plus 12, but I should have taken off 3 degrees centigrade. I'm 1,000 feet high. I know that the forecasters never bloody get this right, so I should have assumed or planned on plus 9. And then what I should always do, is then take off another 5 degrees to be on the safe side. So really I should have been planning on sleeping kit that's going to get me down to plus 4 degrees centigrade, because I am a cold sleeper. The sleeping bag, the Snugpak, gets you down to plus 7, so that wasn't good enough. I should have brought the Corinthia Defense 1 with me, and then that Swagman Roll as an under quilt. You know, I knew it was going to be around about the plus 10 degrees centigrade is where it was going to be at its limit. It was never going to be good enough. I should have bloody known, if I'm really honest. So I would say the comfort rating of that Swagman Roll is plus 12 degrees centigrade. Because when I got in, it was about that, and I got in and thought, this is okay actually, there's no problem, and I felt quite cozy. But about an hour and a half later, I'm awake and I'm bloody cold. So I'm gonna have to pack everything up. I'm gonna get all the little bits and bobs, because I always pack up a little bit in the evening anyway, so there's not much to sort of put away. Then I'm just going to grab the whole sleep setup, not forgetting the tree straps, and just put those straight in the bag. I'm not gonna undo anything and bag anything. But the good thing is that the underquilt I can just take off and wear, because I am cold, so that is a good plus. I'll just show you quickly what I did do with the sleeping system. So I went back to the system of going onto the toggles. So there's my bit of elastic onto there's my bit of elastic onto the toggles. I cinched this up, but then what I also did, the strap that you get that comes on it, you can see that strap there, I attached that around just to try and stop any air getting out, because it was getting cold in there. I'm not sure if that would make any difference, but that's the setup that I ended up with, just in case this was the reason that I was getting cold. But it still wasn't good enough, so that's it. Right, I'm going to pack up and I'll give you my final thoughts on this, on the whole bloody experience. But I'm going to get back to the car. I've got a big sleeping bag in there. I'm all set up with there. It's about 20 minutes away. It's going to be 15 minutes getting out here, 20-minute walk. I'm probably going to take a shortcut over the barbed wire fence, which could be a nasty experience if I get this wrong. But I will speak to you in a minute. Right, I got Swagman on. It does make a difference. I am warming up actually quite quickly, so it is very good in this roll. A limited underquilt down to plus 12 degrees centigrade, and it sounds like for a sleeping bag it's going to be about plus 10, but something like that anyway. Right, start packing up. I'm moving out now, all packed up. Got my torch, so always carry obviously my head torch, and then on my keys I've got an EDC torch, which is really powerful but doesn't last very long. And but I always carry, this is a Fenix something torch, but this with some spare batteries for exactly this, just to give me some proper long distance visibility. And it looks bloody pitch black out there. I've also got some glasses, clear glasses. Given I'm going through the wood and visibility ain't great and it's quite thick, I think I might put them on. Right, I think we're roughly heading this way now. Slowly making my way through. The great thing about having a compass just up here somewhere, there he is, is just being able to take a quick bearing. I know I just need to keep heading north, and I hit the track. There's someone else out here, or something else out here, I've seen some little eyes reflecting the light off. He was down here somewhere. I think this is coming towards the track now. Right, back on the track. So I'll give a quick review then of of this little experience. Number one, do your planning properly, have a think about the temperatures a bit better than I did. Yeah, so if I go up in altitude, I assume 3 degrees centigrade per 1,000 feet of climb, so I should have taken what they forecast, dropped off 3 degrees because I'm 1,000 feet up, and then dropped another 5 degrees in terms of choosing the kit that I'm actually going to take with me. I should have known that this underquilt wasn't going to hack it after watching the outdoor gear review when he mentioned plus 10 degrees centigrade limit for it. I think he meant that for a sleeping bag, and so I should have thought, you know what, it's not going to be good enough for what I need it for an underquilt. But there we go, you make your mistakes. Yeah, but other than that, since I've put it on, it is lovely and warm. I mean, I'm actually quite toasty. It's a little bit awkward trying to do things around camp, the way it attaches onto you, but other than that, it's actually warm and I do not feel cold whatsoever. So there we go, yeah, up this track here, I guess. Right, so I'll see you next time. Cheers.